my teaching philosophy. If you ever get a job, you're going to have to write one of these. Need it.
I'm going to steal the time.
So, my teaching philosophy is, I am in love with dance and always have been. I enjoy taking class, performing, and choreographing. I owe a large part of my love for dance to the wonderful teachers I had growing up. Now that I am a dance teacher, I wish to leave a similar lasting impact on my students. This is actually a quote from Lisa. I forgot about that. I have been told that when students love going to dance class, 90% of that is because of their teacher. I hope to be that 90% for my students. One of my main goals as a teacher is to instill proper technique in my students. Students of every age not only need a structured environment to thrive, they also need proper technique instilled early on so that it becomes second nature. This is especially important when it comes to core strength. Every movement performed in dance either originates from the core or is supported by it. Therefore, I place an intense focus on that area. As you know, because I'm going to give you abs in my acrobatics. My other main goal is to make sure my students are enjoying the entire dance experience. My classes, while structured, are also engaging and entertaining. My students often smile during class, leave in great moods, and sometimes give me hugs goodbye. I want to be respected as a teacher. I am not a friend, nor an enemy to my students. I achieve to maintain the perfect balance of being fun and firm. I hope for my students to walk away from class feeling as though they have accomplished something special. Whether that be finally nailing a step that I've been giving them trouble, learning to count music properly, or feeling that they played the best fairy that day. I want to be part of the reason that they feel great. Teaching is a give and take relationship. I provide the skill and technique and receive happiness and improvement from my students as a reward. So, once I decided that I was really going to get more into the education side of things, I started looking up different types of curriculums, and I found one during my second semester called Scripting the Body, which incorporates writing and dancing. And the woman who started it, its name is Irene McBean. She lives in LA right now, I think. And I was just really fascinated because even when I'm choreographing, I have to write down every single bit and every single count and every single pattern because it helps me. And her stuff has a lot to do with that. So I started using some of her things in my classes and choreographing. That was my old room in Ohio. One of these, bottom right-hand corner, it's called Observations. And you had to sit in a room, you had your students in a room, and they had to find one object in the room and just look at it for like 10 minutes. And then they had to do a free write on what that made them feel. And then they did a dance based off of it. It was really interesting. So I experimented with that. I've implemented a lot of Ariane's stuff into my work, and I really appreciate that she has that curriculum out there because it's a little bit more for a type A personality, which I am. At that time, one of my professors, it turned out that he was actually friends with Ariane, so I got to talk to her on the phone. It was really cool. Another thing that I have learned during this whole process is that I have to adapt sometimes. So this happened during my fourth semester, and it kind of explains itself. picture? Okay. So, stop. No, stop. Sorry, hold on. So, let me get back to the.
We can distract the people on the thing. Sorry.
I'll show you just the ending of that, what it ended up being. The silence of the word.
Another day.
Someone walked in on me. There we go. Ta-da. That was real fun. My doctor told me that it was like a football injury. I was like, how did I get that? And he was like, you're dancing, you're jumping all the time. So, but yeah, basically I was not able to do anything. I was horrible. But he healed, so.
Sorry, there are some problems with the computer.
Yeah, we move it much. Okay, so, been one of my biggest inspirations during this whole spiel, Twyla Tharp. That's one of her quotes. Before you can think out of the box, you have to start with the box.
That's amazing.
Okay, so I think that anyone who has been practicing any form of art for a long time has gotten into a schlump, which is when you are stuck and you just, kind of like writer's block, basically, but in every spectrum. So one of my big schlumps happened while I was in the middle of my MFAIA studies, and it was at a really important part of my studies, which was not good. So at the suggestion of my advisor at the time, Pete Hawking, I turned to the work of Twyla Tharp for inspiration. So what really got me about Tharp stuff is that she's a chameleon. She does everything and anything. So she's choreographed a really cool musical called Moving Out. It's all to Billy Joel music, and I love it. And she was, when I first heard about her, she was mentioned briefly in the postmodern section of my Dance in the 20th Century course in college. That was it. There didn't go anything about that. And she was described as a quirky crossover ballet choreographer. Tharp's work, especially her book, The Creative Habit, changed both my personal and professional life. That became like my Bible almost. D-Scoop, I hope I'm saying that right, originally performed by the Jockey Ballet, is considered to be the first crossover ballet. And crossover ballet is considered, has all the proper technique of ballet, but also has other influences from her. So she was considered the first choreographer to do that. I also admire her, like I said, her range as an artist. She has created ballet-based pieces such as Push Comes to Shove, starring the great Mikhail Berger-Schnitthoff. It is a phenomenal piece. She created jazz-inspired choreography for an entire Broadway musical, Moving Out, and she's created pieces such as In the Upper Room, which I personally can see flecks of Paul Taylor's technique sprinkled in. I view Tharp as a role model. She makes it apparent in her book that if you wish to create, you just need to start. Tharp herself once reached a point when the only way for her to begin was to stomp her foot and go begin, and suddenly she started choreographing. So she encourages you to, no matter what, just find a way to get into movement, no matter how silly it seems. And if it works, then it works. She also takes no issue with dancers and choreographers copying other artists as long as those artists are given proper credit. She feels that you should work with material that allows you to feel comfortable and creative. In some ways, I do believe that I personally have copied some of her aesthetics, as I currently identify as a quirky. The one word that always comes to mind when you ask someone about Twilight Dark is that she's quirky. That's always what comes up. However, my style evolved into Kylie works, which I see as a tribute to Tharp now. Another thing that heavily inspired me, but not originally, I wrote an essay early in my graduate studies discussing another area in McBean article, which was called Site-Specific Dance, Promoting Social Awareness in Choreography. I questioned McBean's thoughts and opinions on site-specific, whatever that. And she proclaimed that in her perfect world, all dance would be site-specific. She also felt it was important to do an immense amount of research, stating, every dance would acknowledge the history, architecture, politics, and social implications that the space and its inhabitants lead to a dance. At the time, I was not as familiar with topics of site-specific dance, and I wrote, while I believe this article would be inspiring to those who love site-specific dance, to those who do not, like me, apparent flaws can be found with McBean's writing. Personally, I think it's possible to create a site-specific work without thinking about the history, architecture, politics, and social implications to the site. If I go into my boyfriend's backyard, create dance in his garden, and film it, that is site-specific, isn't it? I would be able to do that without thinking of the history, etc. So that I actually did. This was before we were living together and I was visiting. I just randomly danced in his backyard and I filmed it. And I was like, that's site-specific, isn't it? I'm on a site that is not traditional. So that's site-specific. I was trying to prove a point. Stupid. So, shortly after writing that essay, I did create a video of improvised dance inspired by my thoughts. Use of location was based on this, what I had at the time. It was before I had a job here, so I lived in a studio. And it was based on that rather than choice after conducting research. I was only using my knowledge of McBean's opinions on site-specific work at the time, so it did not seem that my use of this non-traditional location could be characterized as site-specific art. That's a tongue twister. Who noticed that? I had researched the history of the site, and I wasn't initially inspired by the site. I had danced out of boredom, and I was limited to only the space available. One of my goals upon entering grad school was to find my identity. And I kept finding myself just dancing around the house. It's something I've always done since I was younger, especially in the kitchen. I would dance in the kitchen because it always seems to be good for me. I don't know why. And I shortly realized that I'm practicing site-specific work, even though I didn't want to. So I was encouraged by one of my professor's advisors to look more into the history of site-specific work. And I found that it doesn't always have to be about history. It can sometimes be personal. Like you can have a storyline related to it. You can, as long as you have like a narrative that makes you feel good, then it can be site-specific. That's fine. So some of the stuff that I looked into when I was looking at site-specific work, there's this video, this is blue mapping. It's called Bedford Subway, and this woman, she has very minimal movement in a very public space. And there's a bunch of people going around her. She's just standing there, and nobody's going to notice her. I also looked into Robert Irwin, who is, he does more sculptural type stuff, but he still is a site-specific artist because he's never in like a studio or a lobby or some place. He tries to choose separate places. And then Stephen Koplitz, he's mainly a site-specific choreographer. He does huge scale works. He did something in an old train station one time. They were up in the lights. It was phenomenal. And then This company does a lot, they dive into site-specific work. They created a whole piece based off of construction of a new area. And they have like some more around the woods out there and stuff like that bothers me, but I can appreciate like you getting that into your work. So, you had a great picture of that. And at one point I started like down the corner where you I can still appreciate it though. So all my research on site-specific work led me to what I consider my biggest project, the Quirky Habitat series. So the Quirky Habitat series, it was originally inspired by this video, which I'm going to play in a second. What the Quirky Habitat series is about is that I choose a room in my house and I choose a storyline behind it. And I dance in that room based off that storyline. So I have a connection to the site. And I do it in my own sort of silly manner. I've been told that I have a very interesting sense of humor. Not since I do choreograph a lot for online work, I'm prepared for what we call trolls and haters, and I've gotten those. And I don't care because, like I said, I'm different and I like what I do. So this is a piece called "I'm So Tired," and it is based off of I have really bad stress-induced insomnia. So I first did atomic waters. In the video. Because overall I have 60 subscribers, which is not much, but I was on a blog, and then the views, if you put the proper tags in, then you can get people watching it. This is the Beatles, you just can't hear it. And I didn't film it on my high quality camera because I was really just goofing off. But after that, things got a little bit more professional. This is the second video in the series called Little Distractions. Growing up, I was homeschooled, as I mentioned. My mom had a heck of a time trying to get me to do schoolwork, especially for math. Because while I am what I consider a type A personality, I like to get things done, I'm very organized, I also have a huge imagination. And my mind can just wander off to Lord knows where. So what I've realized is that whenever I have to do something like clean a room or get some homework done, I need to have something else going on in the background. I need to play music, I need to get up and take stretch breaks, and I get it done, but it might take longer than normal people, but I get it done. So this piece was inspired by that, and the fact that the ever since I moved in with my poor boyfriend. I trashed the bathroom in our hallway, and he kept going like, "You need to clean it up. It's got to be you because you're the one that made a mess with all your little girly things." So I decided to clean the room, but make it part of my project as well. So this shows how I can get distracted, but how I also get with them. I'm gross, I'm very sorry. Yeah, see, I told you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the movement, actually a good portion of the movement was improv, because I felt that it would be more organic. Trash can was full. Super full. And I also wanted to throw in a little bit of odd dancer movement because my family constantly makes fun of me because even if I'm just sitting around, I sit like this, my toes pointed. So when I'm cleaning, I still do that. So I figured I'd throw that in. Yeah, I told you. This is one of my dance breaks that I definitely need. This is where a lot of my choreography comes from, my dance breaks. I think you get the picture. So the room got clean, but it took like a good hour and a half.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Caitlin. And then the current, most recent piece in the series is called Hangry, which is hungry plus angry. I am borderline hypoglycemic, which means that when my blood sugar gets super low, it can affect different people different ways. You can get tired, or you can get really hyper. When it hits me, I turn into one of the meanest people you will ever meet. So when I was creating this piece, I obviously choreographed it in my kitchen. But I also thought of, I went back to my insecurities with my body and how I feel like I constantly need to snack. But then I worry about what's going to happen when I get bigger, and I don't want that to happen. So here's just a little
Cookie.
exactly.
What's that?
It's basically like my inner demons with food, I guess.
Eat the cookie already.
I already had 2 cookies that day. I made the healthier choice. So oddly enough, that's one of my favorite ones that I did in the series. That got a lot of hate when I put it on YouTube. Because it is don't understand it. So in order for people to understand it, I would have to type out like the entire essay that I wrote along with it to go with it. But people were like, what the heck? And going off, if you don't get it, you don't get it. I don't care. It's still one of my favorites.
It's just cookies.
So, epilogue. Beyond my telescope, in which a quirky porky plans for future endeavors. Lately, one of my biggest inspirations has been Bill T. Jones. If you do not know who he is, I suggest looking up everything that he has done. He's phenomenal. So, one of his quotes, living and dying is not the big issue. The big issue is what you're going to do with your time while you are here. And what really got me onto Bill T. Jones, I've always had this thing about fear. For the longest time, I always feared what people would think of me and what my choreography would be like. I'm finally over that, partially thanks to him. One of my biggest inspirations from Jones is he created a piece called Still Here, and it was either over 2 years or 3 years. He did a series of workshops all throughout the United States. And he took people who were living with a terminal disease or were close to living with a terminal disease. So cancer patients, cystic fibrosis, AIDS. And he went in and worked with them and non-dancers. And he would randomly go, okay, do a joy dance. Just do a joy dance, go ahead. And they would do that and he filmed them. Or he would have them write out a map of their life just on one sheet of paper. And then he would have one person walk the entire class through their life and their map. It's all really fascinating. There's an entire documentary on it called Still Here, and I think it's with Guilty Lawyers. PBS did it. It's online, and you can view it for free if you search it. It's great. So he took all of those workshops, all of that work, and he took his company and did an entire piece based off of it. So all the movement was inspired from pedestrian movement, which I love. And his company itself is full of huge variety. There's male and female, and really, really large, and really thin. There's this like one teeny little girl and one huge tall guy. And it was called a major and often startling new mixed media piece, a singularly American work. For the longest time, I was considering doing something close to that. My boyfriend is a disabled veteran. He is considered 90% disabled. Probably will get the next 10% within the next few years. So I would like to do sometime in the future. It's not set in stone, but I would like to do a piece interviewing veterans and their experiences, something based on that. So Jim's personal connection to the piece, his partner died of complications with HIV/AIDS, Arnie Zane. That's partially who the company was based off of. And you can see the personal connection with that. When he was in the workshops, there were some moments that he was just very, very emotional, and it's very sensitive and heart-wrenching, and I love it. So I aspire to be as sensitive of a choreographer as he is someday. Yeah, let's go. There we go. And along with the fear, I looked into a book by psychologist Roland May, and he writes a lot about creative courage, which I felt related to me. I'll just read that little quote. It says, but in our appreciation of creative work, let us say a Mozart quintet, we also are performing a creative art. When we engage in painting, which we have to do, especially with modern art, we are authentically to see it. We are experiencing some new moment of sensibility. Some new vision is triggered in by us, by our contact with the painting. Something unique is born in us. That is why our appreciation of music or painting or other works of a creative person is also a creative act on our part. The idea that my art can have such a lasting impact on an audience is unbelievable to me. So would collaborating more with my audiences lead to an even better feeling of satisfaction between myself and my collaborator? I do believe so. Through his workshops, Jones created a critically acclaimed piece capturing multiple people's stories. In the future, could I do the same? Of course. Now to the end. There we go. Finishing up, but not really. Just going to read you the last segment here. I want to somehow leave an impression on this world. This portfolio is a way for me to do just that. It is a personal yet public. It took months of work to compile, and I'm quite proud of it, but it is also a way for me to keep my artistic practice alive as I continue to add to it over the years. Scrapbookers don't simply make one scrapbook in their lifetime. There are far too many interesting things in the world to book about. So whether another scrapbook is compiled, a play is written, or a concert is choreographed, my adventure is only just beginning. And I'm really excited. There's just some pictures of me. Yep. And that's the end. I'm going to be, like I said, I'm gonna be posting my full portfolio on Google Drive, so if anyone's interested, then it'll be up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Kylie. I mean, this is gonna be on YouTube. I'm just wondering.
I'm either gonna do YouTube or something else.
Do YouTube. I want to be famous.
Guys, eventually we'll just have him.
Are you sure?
Yeah, tomorrow.
What time is it today, Marie?
It is 8:30, time to go home, right?
I don't think so.
No. It's a big time, maybe.
Thank you.
How did
Did
it
you
look
go
for
late?
so long?
Thanks.
You know I write some too.
Really?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Was it supposed to be earlier?
I-
Or was it supposed to be exact 8:30?
Oh, really?
8:30 is a big time, so it's not time to go.
No, I was
What about
actually,
homework?
I almost was
I got
like,
homework.
My math.
and I started like first class, and
Do you know now?
immediately it was
Yeah, I know,
like,
It was a trick thing, the whole thing was like
everyone like,
That's terrible.
okay. So I realized that I did not write a book.
No.
Or someone else's.
I'm hot picking, so.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well done.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Just need everything that you, that's meant you.
Thanks for coming, Matt.